Hey friends, Ash here with Gents, and today I'm going over the 5th fragrance in the line that I've been working on. If you haven't checked out the first 4 fragrances, I'll leave a link in the description. Make sure to check those ones out. This one is done by a different perfumer than the previous fragrances, and it is a completely different style of fragrance as compared to the last 4. So far, the first fragrance I talked to you guys about is a very nice, high quality tobacco fragrance. Not a super sweet pipe tobacco though, more sophisticated, more elegant. The second fragrance that I talked with you guys about is based around coffee and cognac, used in a couple of different ways. Then we also have a very fresh fragrance centering around yuzu and other citrus notes. Got some kind of green aspects in there, some nice woodiness. And then the most recent fragrance that I've talked about, just a super sexy, compliment pulling, date night kind of fragrance, very appealing, very alluring. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into this and check out this fragrance. So here it is in my hand, and this one is done by Bertrand Duchaufour. Just an enormous, enormous perfumer. He has done countless fragrances that are considered classics at this point. Jubilation 25 for men by Amouage. He also did Timbuktu for L'Artisan Parfumé. From the same house, he did Sonka, kind of an interesting name on that one. He did Sartorial from Penhaligon's, Woody Mood from Olfactive Studio. Lots and lots of fragrances. You can look them up on Fragrantica, Base Notes, or wherever. And before I forget, he also did the Vagabond Prince, all the fragrances in the Vagabond Prince line, which I think are awesome. So like in the previous videos, I'll just run through the note breakdown for you guys really quickly and then let you know kind of how it smells to me and the idea behind the fragrance. So let's check those out. Okay, so here we go. The top has Italian grapefruit, Sicilian bergamot, Indian cedarwood leaves, juniper berry, Guatemalan cardamom, and ginger. You've got a nice little blend of citrus. That's not the focal point of the fragrance, but you have a little bit there. And some of the notes that maybe jump out to you would be the Indian cedarwood leaves, and that's going to make sense as we go into kind of what inspired the fragrance. But the opening here, nice pops of spice, nice bit of citrus. It's sweet, it's fresh, but it's not supremely fresh. Again, it'll make more sense here in a second. In the mid, we have French lavender, which is actually a really nice high quality lavender in this one, Spanish nutmeg, driftwood, a juicy fig, and then a seasoned quince. So that's your mid. Again, some of the notes that probably jump out, the fig and the quince. The main player there in the mid is going to be the lavender for me. The lavender in this fragrance, you can pick up pretty much right away. And as I said, it's a really nice high quality lavender. It's not overwhelming. Everything in this fragrance works together very well. The blend is great, so you don't have one note sticking out and just kind of overwhelming everything else. But the lavender is nice and noticeable here. It's kind of a creamy lavender. Then in the base, we've got Gaiac wood, Peru balsam, tonka, vanilla, ambergris, and Indonesian patchouli. So you've got some nice sweetness in there, some nice richness, and there's a lot of depth in this fragrance. Okay, so the idea behind this fragrance was essentially a dream about being in the forest, in the woods, out in nature, essentially. And then you wake up from that dream, so you just kind of wake up in the middle of the night, and you can kind of remember bits and pieces of that dream, the light coming down through the leaves of the trees, and you have that remembrance, but it's blurred along the edges. You know, you're kind of starting to forget how everything was, as most often happens with dreams. You'll kind of have this remembrance of them, but it's kind of a little bit muddied or muddled. And that was the idea behind the fragrance, just this kind of woody scent, but not at all done in a way where it's a photorealistic take on woods. More, again, a dreamlike take on woods. So you do have woody facets in the fragrance. The driftwood, the Gaiac wood, the cedarwood leaves. So you have these facets of the forest, of woods, of woodiness, but then, as I mentioned, it's kind of softened out, blurred along the edges, so it doesn't become just about the woods and become this like woody, spicy scent where it's just, you know, very super heavy. So instead it becomes these woods, but blending together with all these other notes, the fig, the quince, the lavender, the bits of citrus in the opening, the ambergris, the tonka, the vanilla, all this stuff working together in harmony. And that's really what the fragrance is about. When you first spray it on, you do have freshness, you do have that citrus, you have that ginger, so it's very inviting. And it seems like when you first spray it on maybe, that it's going to be more of a fresh kind of scent, that it's going to go down that path. And actually I'll go ahead and spray it on right now, since we're talking about the scent. But when you first smell it, like I said, you get that lavender, but it smells like it's going to be more of a really fresh kind of fragrance. As it dries down though, more of the facets start to come out and come into play. That creamy lavender starts to come out and be a focal point. You get more woodiness that comes out as it dries, but it never becomes overwhelming. You get little bits of fig, little bits of quince, so you have this kind of exotic fruitiness popping in that you may not expect. It still is a fragrance that I think is masculine because of that lavender, because of the woods, but at the same time, a woman could pull this off if she wanted to, if she was confident in herself. Then as it dries down, you've got more sweetness coming out. The tonka, the vanilla, really smooth ambergris, some slight darkness from the Gaiac wood, the Peru balsam, just really a lovely fragrance. And this one is one that I've had fantastic feedback from as well. It has at times this really nice, almost slightly edible quality to it. It's not at all a gourmand fragrance, but just the way that everything comes together, those fruits, that lavender, the vanilla, the tonka, really nice. Performance is very good for this one off of my skin, and it's really very versatile. Daytime or nighttime, fall, winter, spring. You can get a lot of use out of this one. Just a fantastic, very versatile fragrance that is extremely wearable, but does not smell like anything else I've smelled. So this one just absolutely killed it for me. It smells fantastic. Woody, yes, but in that way that it's maybe super masculine or heavy or overloaded with spice. No, not at all. The sweetness in here is just enough. The contrast here is fantastic and the blend is amazing. Everything just works together. And I have one more fragrance I worked on with Bertrand, which will be in the next video, talking about the fragrances that I have coming out in this line. And then the last one is a different perfumer I've not talked about yet, and that is a very interesting fragrance as well. The next one that I'm going to talk about, again, that I did with Bertrand, is just an awesome, elegant fragrance for fall, for winter, for evening wear, or really any time that you want to smell like $1 million. Really nice, and lots going on. This fragrance also has a lot going on when you look at the note breakdown, but like I said, everything just works so well that, you know, it makes sense when you smell it. Nothing here sticks out, but there is a lot going on. And it's gonna be the same with the next one too. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for me. So this is fragrance 5, 2 more to go, and I'm still working on things behind the scenes, really trying to make this just the absolute best experience for you guys out there when you get these. And that bird agrees. The bird's a fan. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. Stay safe out there, guys. See you later.